Hi, good evening. Are we ready to go? Okay. Good evening, everyone. I know it's been a long night. Congratulations to all of you on participating in this wonderful event tonight. I am Gina Lamantia. I serve as the director for ACHE's Career Resource Center. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the new networking model. To be sure, many of you have made a lot of connections tonight, and now you're thinking about what to do next, what the next step is with that, and how to really ultimately take advantage of and start to build your connectivity as you think about your executive presence and your role in the healthcare arena. So let's talk about this from a relationship building point of view, right? So first and foremost, you have met a lot of different people tonight. You've heard a lot of different conversations. And I want to talk about networking because it's really about relationship building. So for those of you that are students, you're new professionals, you're just getting started, you're really thinking about this in terms of the cultivation of individual relationships that you are now garnering within the context of that bigger picture. Like anything else, networking is a skill that needs to be developed over time. You get better at it the more you do it, and as you practice that. And so you need to really think about that and work on it. We're in a world where virtual connectivity is more important and more critical than ever before. So don't think that this is going to make it easier. In fact, it could just be the opposite. You may need to be thinking about this even more strategically than you ever have before. Well, what does that mean? It means being very intentional in the way that you reach out, being strategic, maintaining connectivity, and establishing a network that you can continue to build upon. It's helpful to think about this within the context of ongoing professional and personal development as well. It's about the moment. It's about timely connectivity, which all of you will capitalize on after tonight's event, I'm sure. But it's also about establishing a foundation from which to continually enhance your professional growth and define your executive presence in the healthcare industry. So you have an opportunity to do that now, and you'll continue to do that and continue to grow. Think about what it is that you want to say about yourself. What information do you want people to know about you? And what are you looking for them to give you? What kind of information are you seeking from them? So again, be intentional when you're leveraging your network and think about it strategically. Well, when we talk about really defining your purpose and your intent as you activate and you start to build your network, you really need to start to think about your personal brand. Defining your brand first is really critical for both your in-person interactions as well as online. You need to know who you are professionally, in person and online. And you need to be able to articulate that clearly. So if somebody asked you, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What are you trying to accomplish? What would your elevator speech look like? How would you do that? What would be your value statement? What would you want people to walk away knowing about you? You need to make sure that your online presence reflects that as well. So you want to make sure you're thinking about this within the grand scheme of not only you in person, in the written word, but also online too. Online networking helps you learn about the industries, the healthcare organizations, the companies that you're interested in. You need to actively be thinking about this and utilize this as part of your due diligence for any of the organizations that you've talked to tonight, that you've met with, that you've interviewed with for fellowships or thinking about for internships or full-time jobs somewhere down the line. Understand what these organizations are facing. What's their mission? What is their vision? What have they accomplished? What are their accolades and priorities? You need to be able to speak to this and speak to it well. That's your due diligence that you need to do as you're acknowledging the organizations. You need to be knowledgeable about that. Remember that the organizations that you're meeting and talking to, the leaders, the potential managers, the potential colleagues, they're going to use social media and online presence to learn about you as well. So make sure that your online presence is a professional reflection of who you want to be. I would encourage you to do an online search of yourself if you haven't already. Ask others to do that. What do they take away when they look at that? Don't list personal information or comments that are controversial, photos that are controversial. Think about this. When employers are looking at your brand and they're looking at you online, they may go beyond LinkedIn. They might look at other things and do a Google search. So be prepared for that. If you are working on defining your personal brand and your professional brand, and you're really starting to think about this and maybe struggling with that a little bit or feeling like it needs more work, I want to invite all of you, especially our student members, those that are full members, to really leverage Career Edge, which is ACHE's own interactive platform. It's a self-guided online tool that really helps you clarify your brand, what your professional goals are, your objectives, your mission, your career path. And it really allows you to do this with much more definitive intentionality so that you're able to articulate that and articulate it well. It includes a lot of career activities, self-assessments that you're able to take, learning activities, and it pulls all of that information together into a very specific ongoing career path and goal path that you're able to then follow. I would encourage you to look at this, and as you get the output from that, you can then look at that to make sure it's reflected consistently in your resume, in any of your written communications, your cover letters, in your LinkedIn profile. Make sure that there's alignment and that all that information complements one another and enhances your brand and your personal brand. Earlier tonight, when we started, Deborah talked about some of the other tools within the Career Resource Center, the interview prep tool, as people are doing more online interviewing. Practice that, think about that. That's a tool that's available through ACHE's Career Resource Center. It allows you to have practice interview questions and respond to them, and then be able to review your video to make sure that you're presenting yourself in the best way possible. There are robust tools around resume development, fine-tuning your LinkedIn profile, networking effectively, interviewing effectively. All of these free webinars and videos are available through the Career Resource Center as part of our career library. So I would encourage you to take advantage of those as you're fine-tuning your personal brand. Now we're talking about networking your brand, presenting yourself, and what that looks like online. I want to present this as we close out the night here and talk about this within 3 stages. When you're talking about your professional contacts, I want to talk about this from the beginning of building, then the maintenance, and then the expansion of the contacts. So let's talk about building, because I think that's always an easy place to start. And most of you are probably starting to see already that your network has some pretty good breadth and depth already, simply because of your interactions with people that you've known through your life, your family and your friends, neighbors, your fellow classmates, professors, employers that you've had, past and present, some of the fellowship connectivities that you've made tonight. So this is really you building your contacts and thinking about that. I would caution all of you to be careful about mass invitations and blind connectivity. And I say that because in social media, in LinkedIn, it's easy to send mass invitations to people and just, expect them to respond. I'd be cautious about that. I'd really think about what platforms you're connecting people with in your life and why. It's not always about the quantity, it's really about the quality. And we're going to talk more about that as we talk about the maintenance of your network, especially on LinkedIn moving forward. It's interesting, I think, as you're building your contacts, and you'll see this as you grow in your professional career. There's always this idea of 6 degrees of separation, and that comes into play. In fact, LinkedIn uses that, and they show the connectivity with a first, second, or third degree of alignment within your own network. Those kinds of things are going to become even more important as you can continue to expand and grow your network, because you're going to start to see, especially in healthcare, there's a lot of interconnectivity between people that know one another. Even working and being part of ACHE and Chef, you're going to start to see those connections grow from your former classmates. So you want to make sure that you're building your contacts and that you're organizing that in a way that is meaningful to you. Let's talk a little bit about maintaining your contacts. Again, I think this is a really critical piece. It's not just about building hundreds and thousands of connections via LinkedIn. It's really making meaningful contact and building relationships over time. Remember, networking is not just about getting a job. It's ongoing career development. It's ongoing connectivity. It's a give and take relationship, right? So what do you have to offer? What are you providing to the contacts in your network? And what are you gaining? What are you hoping to achieve by being connected with those individuals? And is that clear? This goes back to your purpose and your intent. Are you clear about that? With your brand, do we know what that is? What's your value statement? You see how all of these things kind of work together. Think about as you're maintaining your contacts, especially on LinkedIn, are there articles? Are there resources? Is there information that you want to share with certain individuals that you've known or connected with over time? Do you want to refresh their memory on a conversation that you had and maybe a resource that would help them as they're working through that? Maybe a partnership that you've initiated and how that might benefit them long-term, so that you're contributing to your contacts as well. You always want to be grateful for the time and the responses that are available. Listen and learn. Learn from the other people in your network. Problem solve, strategize. It's a great way to stay connected and learn from one another and share information. That in itself leads to the development and the ongoing enhancement of your network. Always be respectful and limits on time and availability. And most importantly, be flexible, be patient, technologically, be creative and savvy, always available, and don't lose touch. You always want to be able to let your contacts know what's going on. What are you up to? Any updates that you have, projects that you're working on that you think they might be interested in, and so forth. Finally, as you're thinking about tonight's event, for example, I want to talk a little bit about expanding your contacts. All of you are doing that right now simply by participating in this very robust event, meeting new people, actively being involved in ACHE and Chef. The power of that universal network is really incomparable. Make it a point to maintain that involvement over time. Deborah talked about this earlier when she launched the event earlier tonight. Many times it's the big picture context that we're looking for. Try to remember that. It's not always easy when you're starting out and you're building your network and your career, but it doesn't always happen in 1 year. You'll see that develop over time at 3 years and 5 years, and the connections grow. And having that immediate shared experience with an organization like Chef or ACHE, that's a really rewarding and valuable membership that you have. Continue to stay active with your online networks. If you're involved in special interest groups, forums, special groups that you work with that have LinkedIn presences, or online meetings and Zoom meetings, these members are, again, opportunities to expand your network. Think about it from a broader terminology, and you may be surprised at the interconnectivity that you see within that and some of your other groups that you're working with as well. Continue to leverage and use your academic networks. Alumni may be willing to do informational interviews with you. Career services, online job boards, those resources are all available through higher education academic institutions. Many host networking events to support fellow alums. Take advantage of those things. I know it's not always easy to do, and it's not always easy to put yourself out there, but it really pays off in dividends at the end. So make sure you're taking advantage of those things as much as you can. Remember that when you are networking and defining your brand and really making sure that you're ready to be out there and building your contacts and building and defining your executive presence, it's a work in progress all the time. Recognize the importance of the moment that you had tonight, for example. Capitalize on that now as you actively pursue new opportunities. But remember, it's a long-term investment. It will pay off in dividends as you move forward, but continue to strengthen that networking foundation that you've already started to grow here tonight and beyond. So thank you. I'm happy to take any questions if you'd like.
Thank you again, everyone, for attending tonight. We really appreciate your time. Gina, thank you for everything tonight. If you guys have any other questions, our emails are listed on that Needs Help page on the website. Feel free to reach out to us with any last minute questions. Again, thank you everyone so much for tonight. Hopefully it was beneficial for you all. Look for the evaluation in your email as well to be completed for this event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gina.
Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of the night.
So I'm going to end the meeting now.
Congrats on a good job.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.